My channel. In life, we often face criticism, whether it's from loved ones, peers, mentors, or strangers. Criticism can sting, sometimes leaving us feeling vulnerable, defensive, or self-doubtful. However, over the years, I've learned that the way we choose to respond to criticism defines how it will affect us. Criticism doesn't have to be a negative force in our lives, it can be a powerful tool for growth and transformation if we learn how to embrace it with openness and understanding. This journey hasn't always been easy, but it's been incredibly rewarding, and I want to share how I've navigated the stormy seas of criticism and turned it into something constructive. Type Amen if you believe in God. Please subscribe to my channel for daily God messages. My relationship with criticism started with resistance. Like most people, I initially felt the sharp sting of negative feedback. The first time I received harsh criticism, I found myself immediately going on the defensive. I thought about all the reasons why the critique was unfair and focused on justifying myself. In hindsight, I can see that this knee-jerk reaction wasn't productive. It only prolonged the pain and prevented me from truly learning from the situation. Type Amen if you believe in God. The truth is, none of us are perfect, and the desire to be seen in a positive light is deeply human. But when we put all our self-worth in external validation, we set ourselves up for emotional turmoil. This first experience taught me that criticism, even when it's not delivered kindly, doesn't diminish my value as a person. The key to turning criticism into growth is to separate the feedback from my self-worth. Type Amen if you believe in God. As time went on, I realized that my immediate reaction wasn't helping me grow. I began to take a step back from the initial emotional response. Instead of defensively lashing out or retreating into self-doubt, I allowed myself to feel the emotions, anger, frustration, hurt, but I didn't let them control me. I learned to breathe, pause, and reflect before responding. This was the first step in transforming criticism into an opportunity. Taking a step back allowed me to create emotional space. This emotional space was crucial in allowing me to see the feedback for what it truly was, not a personal attack but an opportunity to grow, improve, and evolve. Type Amen if you believe in God. The lesson: embracing criticism as a tool for improvement. One of the most profound shifts I experienced was the realization that criticism doesn't always come from a place of malice. Often, the people who criticize us care enough to point out areas where we can improve. They are offering us a mirror, reflecting what might need tweaking, expanding, or refining. It's not easy to accept that there are areas we need to work on, but it's essential for personal development. Type Amen if you believe in God. I began to embrace criticism as a tool for self-improvement. Each critique was an opportunity to assess my actions, behavior, or ideas and determine where I could do better. This shift in mindset changed everything. Instead of feeling like criticism was an attack on my character, I saw it as constructive feedback that could help me elevate my performance and bring me closer to my highest potential. One of the most valuable lessons I've learned is the importance of creating feedback loops. Rather than hearing feedback once and moving on, I started to actively seek out feedback from others, both in personal and professional contexts. This process became cyclical. I would receive feedback, reflect on it, make changes, and then return for more feedback. Over time, this constant loop of learning allowed me to make continuous improvements. Type Amen if you believe in God. When I started actively soliciting feedback, I was no longer in a defensive stance. I was open and ready to learn. The more I embraced this approach, the more I realized that no criticism is ever wasted. Every piece of feedback, whether positive or negative, provided me with valuable insights that helped me refine my skills, broaden my perspectives, and enhance my decision-making processes. Type Amen if you believe in God. Criticism can hit us the hardest when it touches on insecurities we have about ourselves. Sometimes, the most painful feedback reveals the areas where we're most vulnerable. For instance, if someone critiques your communication style, and you've always struggled with speaking up or expressing yourself, that feedback may bring up feelings of inadequacy. Over time, I became more self-aware of my emotional triggers. I learned to recognize when criticism was touching on a personal insecurity, and I consciously worked to separate the emotional reaction from the objective message in the feedback. Self-awareness became the key to responding with grace and maturity, rather than defensiveness. Type Amen if you believe in God. Additionally, I realized that when I felt particularly sensitive to certain types of criticism, it was often a signal to focus on personal development in that specific area. Criticism had become a mirror, reflecting parts of myself I could improve. This became a beautiful cycle. Criticism would reveal an area of growth, and I would use that as fuel for personal transformation. Type Amen if you believe in God. As I became more comfortable with criticism, I started actively asking for it. I sought constructive feedback in areas where I knew I could improve. This took a great deal of courage, but it also deepened my understanding of myself. Asking for feedback showed me where my blind spots were, areas where I hadn't realized I was making mistakes or areas I wasn't aware needed improvement. I also found that constructive criticism was often delivered more kindly and thoughtfully than I had expected. When I asked for feedback with an open heart and a willingness to learn, others responded with genuine care and valuable insights. Type Amen if you believe in God. This process of seeking out feedback helped me grow in ways I hadn't anticipated. It turned criticism into a tool of empowerment. Instead of being something to fear, I started to view it as a necessary part of my journey toward becoming the best version of myself. Type Amen if you believe in God. One of the most valuable aspects of learning to handle criticism was building emotional resilience. The more I encountered feedback, the more I strengthened my ability to bounce back from negative comments or opinions. Each time I took criticism in stride, I became more resilient, learning how to remain grounded even in the face of harsh feedback. Resilience isn't about avoiding pain or discomfort, it's about learning to handle life's challenges with grace and adaptability. By shifting my perspective on criticism, I started to view it as an essential part of life's natural ebb and flow. The more resilient I became, the more I embraced challenges, both personal and professional. Type Amen if you believe in God. One thing that I often forget in the midst of criticism is the importance of self-compassion. It's easy to get lost in self-judgment when we receive negative feedback, and we can be our own worst critics. But I've learned that to truly grow, we need to approach ourselves with kindness and understanding. We are all works in progress, and no one is perfect. We will all make mistakes, but it's how we learn from those mistakes that defines our character. Type Amen if you believe in God. When I began to practice self-compassion, I found that criticism had less power over me. I no longer saw mistakes as failures but as opportunities for growth. Embracing imperfection has been one of the most freeing realizations in my life. I am allowed to make mistakes, and I am allowed to learn and evolve from them. Gratitude has played an essential role in my journey with criticism. Instead of resenting it, I began to approach it with gratitude, seeing it as a gift. Every time I received feedback, I reminded myself that this was an opportunity to learn, to refine my approach, and to grow stronger. Gratitude allowed me to transform what could have been a painful experience into a valuable lesson. Type Amen if you believe in God. When we can shift our perspective from resistance to gratitude, we can truly transform our relationship with criticism. Rather than seeing it as something to avoid or fear, we can embrace it as an essential part of our journey toward self-improvement and personal growth. Criticism will always be a part of life. But instead of fearing it or avoiding it, we can learn to see it for what it truly is, a tool for growth, a stepping stone on the path toward becoming the best version of ourselves. The more I've embraced this mindset, the more I've been able to turn negative feedback into a catalyst for change. Type Amen if you believe in God. Criticism isn't about us as individuals. It's about our actions, behaviors, or ideas. When we can separate ourselves from the feedback and take a step back to reflect, we create space for growth. We learn to approach criticism with openness, resilience, and self-compassion, knowing that each experience adds to our personal evolution. To my beloved listener, I encourage you to view criticism as a powerful opportunity for growth. Let it guide you, not hinder you. You are capable of transforming every bit of feedback into something meaningful. Embrace the lessons it brings, and know that each moment of discomfort is leading you closer to your highest self. You are on a journey of continuous evolution, and every piece of criticism is just another stepping stone toward greatness. Type Amen if you believe in God. You are surrounded by love, support, and endless opportunities for growth. Keep moving forward, knowing that miracles
are unfolding in your life with every step you take.